Hello everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel. Today we are doing my October reading wrap up. In the month of October, I read a total of 8 books and all kind of fell under the monster, if not vampire specific category. So that's kind of what you can expect from this reading wrap up. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below, and let's get into what I thought about these 8 books. All right, so for the first book I read was What Moves the Dead by Kingfisher. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. It is very short. Let's see, it is roughly 157 pages, 160-ish pages. This book was so good though. I read it in one sitting. Actually, that might have been a lie. I might have read it in 2 sittings just because I had work to do. So this book is basically a retelling of the classic The Fall of the House of Usher. I think this was so wonderfully done where the story itself and what it is about isn't necessarily spooky or scary to me, but the ambiance in which Kingfisher wrote this book, I was like, I'm unsettled with the lights being off and everything. I was like, I'm scared. Like, the ambiance and the writing of this book was so good. And like I mentioned, it's a very quick read, so extra points for that, but definitely 4 out of 5 stars. And I definitely want to read the second one. I'm not sure if the second one has any basis on The Fall of the House of Usher or anything like that, but there is a second book in this little duology that I will for sure be reading. There's a wonderful way to start the spooky month of October. Next, we have a little book of short stories and or poems by Edgar Allan Poe. This is called The Raven and Other Poems. If you're interested in what specifically is in this book, oh, there's a lot. I was going to read them all to you. Half of them I can't pronounce, sadly. Okay, here's a list of them. Overall, I give this 3 out of 5 stars. These poems, some of them were a little weird and a little hard to follow along on, as is, of course, most stuff from this time period, as well as Edgar Allan Poe. He was definitely an eclectic man, if you will. Overall, I think this book, this little short story collection is stunning. The gold, the nevermore on the back, everything is really pretty about it. My favorite poem in this was definitely The Raven, the first one. I thought it was so good, and I definitely read through it and was like, okay. Really critically think about what I was reading and interpreted it correctly, because I was like, I don't get it. Next book we have is The Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars, super close to a 5 out of 5 stars. So this book kind of enthralled me. Also, the deckled edges, y'all know me. So basically, this is about Dracula in this story's first wife and kind of the emotional, mental abuse that she, as well as Dracula's other partners, had gone through. And it was just very much a psyche book more than I anticipated. I thought it would be more about the monster, the myth, the legend, Dracula. And it was definitely more of like a survivor story. And I was definitely shocked, but I really enjoyed it. So with that being said, I gave this 4 out of 5 stars because Dracula had 3 partners in this. So he had 2 wives and a husband, and each of their story was very much repetitive. Like, he'd find one, the first one, Constanta, is that how you pronounce her name? Maybe. He found her, fell in love with her, and then he ended up getting a second wife. And then he ended up, like, it was just very repetitive with their stories of when Dracula would get another partner. And then the climax of when his partners take their revenge was just very, like, 5 pages worth. Like, I wanted more, you know? But yeah, it was really good. It was wonderful. I would totally recommend this. Those are my only negatives about it. So just be aware, if you decide to read this book, there's a little author note at the beginning talking about emotional, verbal, and physical, intimate partner abuse, gaslighting, all that type of stuff. So just have that in mind, that this book isn't, you know, necessarily just about, you know, Dracula. Like, it's a lot more than that. Okay, we're like officially getting into the vampire swing of things. Next, we have The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa. Broadbent. 5 out of 5 stars. Oh my god, this book was so good. And this has been like a TikTok book. Like, people put this out there with like Akotar, The Cruel Prince, stuff like that. Like, this is known, and I've had it on my shelf for about a year, but I just never got to it. And here I am, getting to it. Also, we all need to appreciate how all of Carissa's books, without the dust jacket, are still so stunning. Like, all of them are gorgeous. She didn't have to do that, and she did, and she slayed. So So this book is about our main character, Oriah, who is found as a human by this powerful vampire leader who takes her in, trains her to be a little assassin. It's kind of giving Throne of Glass in that sense, and is trained all her life for these trials, because at the end of these trials, you are granted a wish by this goddess, and basically her end wish will be that she can have powers of some sort, because she lives in a world full of vampires and magic, and she's just a human who the best she can do is use the weapons and stuff around her and use her mind. So she's trained all her life when she was taken in by this vampire leader to enter said trials. So with that being said, this book is obviously full of trials, strong female main character, morally gray, love interest, enemies to lovers, all the things you all know that I love. The trials were really good as well. The ending, I'm gonna give it to her. Y'all know me. I really guessed the ending in every book, and I did in this book as well, until I didn't. I was reading and I was like, okay, like, I guess this was gonna happen. And then it did happen, and then more stuff started, and I was like, sat up. I was like, wait. Carissa pulled out all the punches at the end, and I was like, I appreciate that. Like, I love that. I love being able to like be like, oh my god, I was wrong. But 5 out of 5 stars. I'm very interested to see how the second book goes. I actually have it on my shelf somewhere by here. I just haven't gotten to reading it yet. Also, this series is going to be 6 books, but they're broken up into duologies, if that makes sense. So there's 6 books, and then they're 3 separate. Does this make sense? I hope it does. Next, we have another little book of short stories by Edgar Allan Poe. This one specifically is called Edgar Allan Poe, The Masque of the Red Death, and it is in the Penguin cloth-bound editions that, if you guys have seen anywhere on my shelf, you know I love. So this one, in comparison to the other one, this is short stories versus the other one was poems specifically. So the short stories that are in this specific book are The Masque of the Red Death, The Fall of the House of Usher, The Black Cat, Ligeria, The Cask of Amontillado, I could be saying that wrong, The Pit and the Pendulum, and The Telltale Heart. I gave this overall 4 out of 5 stars. His gothic horror, where it just, the story itself might not be creepy, but it'll feel creepy. Like, just the ambiance of his writing just kind of gives you the chills, you know? I hadn't read The Fall of the House of Usher before this, so after reading What Moves the Dead and then reading this, I could kind of compare and contrast the similarities. But yeah, this was super good. I also really enjoyed The Masque of the Red Death as well. That was a really good one in here. Like, overall, like, gothic horror writing, if that's your thing, check this out. It's about 100 pages. Super good. 4 out of 5 stars. Next, we have 6 Scorched Roses by Carissa Broadbent. So this is a novella that is within the Crown of Nyaxia series. So The Serpent and the Wings of Night, but you do not have to read this in any way, shape, or form. This one also, like I said, all of her books, stunning. She doesn't have to do that. I love that she does. So this book, she says you can totally read this if you want to. You can read it wherever you want in the series if you want to. You don't have to read it at all. Like, it's totally up to you. So I, of course, did end up reading it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It's just a cute little romance, and the main character is a scientist. Her name is Lilith, and she was really cool. She's just basically trying to solve a plague that one of the gods put on her hometown, and to do so, she has to talk to a vampire. And in her specific part of the world that she lives in within the Crown of Nyaxia series, there aren't vampires there, so that's very scary and weird and strange to do and dangerous. So it's just a cute little romance, or the lion meets the lamb type of, you know, not to reference Twilight, but you know what I mean. It just sort of explains different parts of the Crown of Nyaxia world better, which I think is important, because where they were at on the map in this doesn't get brought up in The Serpent and the Wings of Night, but it'll probably get brought up later in the series. So that's definitely why I took the time to read this. And it was a really great story. So 4 out of 5 stars. Y'all, go back really quick if you haven't and watch last October's reading video, because I read Crush. I read Crush by Tracey Wolff. So this is the second book in like this 6-book series. The first book is called Crave. I read that last year. It is roughly 600 pages. And last year, reading Crave physically pained me. I don't really believe in like the ick or anything like that, but reading that book really made me rethink my opinion on the ick. Why am I reading the second book? I'll tell you. Just to summarize my opinion on Crave, it was very, very quirky, silly, goofy. And then the last 100 pages, I was locked in. I was like, this is insane. And then I was like, okay, I got the purple edition, like this version of Crave, and I made the deal with myself. If they come out with more of the series, specifically the second one in that edition, I will try out the second one and put myself through this hell again, because I was really thinking about the ending of Crave for like weeks. Like, it's been a year and I was still thinking about it off and on. So I was like, cool, they came out with the edition, let's do it. So I think I gave Crave 2 out of 5 stars. I gave Crush 3 out of 5 stars. Now. Let me just read my Goodreads review real quick. This book and series physically pains me to read, but Hudson and the final words of this book, fine, I'll read the next one. Parentheses. The author can't keep getting away with this. These books just keep getting larger and larger. Take out like 300 and you've got yourself a fan. She's already obviously got fans, but you've got me. But the ending and Hudson, who's introduced in this, I'll be reading the next one. Here I am again. She can't keep getting away with it. She can't keep getting me to read the next one. And I fear she's going to keep getting me to read the next one. So this book, without spoiling the first book too much, is basically about what happens after the end of the first book and Hudson, Jackson's brother. So it's giving love triangle once again, you know, magical creatures, that whole vibe. There's trials in this one. It has the right tropes. Something about the author's writing is giving just, I'm trying to be quirky and silly goofy, and it's not my thing, but I can't stop reading it. It's such a problem, and I'm saying this so angrily, like I'm not voluntarily doing this to myself. If you guys have read this book, the last sentence, yes, we'll be reading the next one because I am suffering. Last but not least, we have my one large classic for the month. I don't know what this stuff is on this. Oh, it's part of like the discoloration. Okay, we have Dracula by Bram Stoker. I'm legitimately on the last chapter of this, so I will be done obviously by the time I'm editing this. But as of right now, I would give this 4 out of 5 stars. Obviously, editing me might change my opinion, but I am a Dracula girly. As you can tell, I'm a vampire girly in general, but I have seen every shape, form, media of Dracula known to man, actually. I love this story. I'm a Dracula cultist. Love this. This is great. It was really great to finally like get the OG though. And yeah, I give this 4 out of 5 stars though, just because actually Drac isn't in this too much and the whole vampire aspect isn't in this too much. It's a classic. It's more so about how in love with these women we are and like the brotherhood of all of our friends and you know, all that stuff. So it's not a very vampire focused as the movies create it to be, obviously to create action and all that, but I still loved it. It's still great. Still would recommend. I love her. And it was great to finally read it. I was like, I'm kind of a fake fan, I feel like. Now I've officially ingested every piece of Dracula media known to man. Is that embarrassing? I don't know. So that is the end of my October reading wrap up. I'm currently reading The Coven by Harper L. Woods. I just didn't finish that in the month of October. So that will be a part of my November reading wrap up. And I have no plans for November, honestly, like genre wise or anything. I do have a lot of books I want to get through, but I'm kind of avoiding as many series as I can for my own bank account purposes. So we'll see what I end up reading. Once again, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below, and I will see you at the end of next month for whatever I end up reading in November. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.